Hi, I'm Susan Kravitz. I'm here at SeenThis. I'm the head of commercial partnerships. Quick thing about SeenThis, so you know what I'm doing here. We're a streaming ad tech company, and because of our technology, clients like Indeed or a couple of others in here are able to stream HD video into display. So you're able to save some money, you're able to have better performance, and you know what? We can help save the planet because it's sustainable. So that's really cool, and we're helping clients tell better stories. I hope you like the segue. So I'm going to actually turn and introduce everybody else, let them get a little chat about their remit, name. I'm going to have a bite of this very warm cookie, and then we'll get into the panel.
I'm Libby Strachan. I oversee brand marketing at Free People. I've been there for a little over 3 years. I wear a lot of hats, but I oversee social media and influencer partnerships as well as helping lead, campaign development and execution.
Hi guys, I am Sam Fodrowski. I am the VP of Marketing at Tiff's Treats, so the cookies that you're having today. If you're from Texas or Austin, you've definitely heard of us, and if not, you will be learning about us as we are close to opening 100 stores nationwide, so growing pretty quickly. But I've been also at Tiff's Treats for about 3 years now. I oversee our influencer marketing, our social media, PR, field marketing, and all of our traditional marketing.
Anything else? No? Hi everybody, I'm Bernardini. I'm Vice President of Brand, Content, and Communications at American Express, but specifically for a division within it that focuses on a all-in-one cash flow management platform for small businesses called Business Blueprint.
All right, so now my hand's full of chocolate. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to break this down into two parts. First, we're going to tackle the evolution of your brand because there's, I would say, a very diverse brand discussion to be had here. And so, Paul, you come from a brand with probably the most heritage on the stage today. And when you think about what you've done, how are you evolving the brand, and what are you ensuring that you're doing to be new, but also staying true?
I appreciate this question. So, first of all, American Express, if you guys, just a little bit of context. So, we are the #1 business card issuer in the US, larger than our closest 5 competitors combined. So we're coming from a very strong place of presence, right, from cards. So I came from a fintech company called Cabbage, and we were acquired in 2020 during the pandemic. We were about 300 people, and we had this suite of technology solutions that help small businesses better manage their cash flow, get lending, business checking accounts, things like this. And so Amex had this aspiration to be known as more than a card company and help small businesses in more ways. And so as our team came in, this was sort of the vision and sort of the that task that was put on our shoulders, is saying, go launch something brand new, become the new face of how we show up for small businesses, and have them sort of perceive us differently than just a card company, but somewhere where what I like to say is not just do business with American Express, but run their business with American Express. And in terms of heritage, I think one thing that was really important even in that acquisition is they were very intentional about acquiring a company that had the same vision in terms of technology. They had the people that really believed in backing small businesses and had the the intention to do right by them, right? Really provide that backing. And so that was a very important decision at the beginning, to bring on this team, this new company, and sort of lead out a very important project to kind of redefine the business. But if those intentions and vision and sort of morals weren't in place, I think that would have been a very difficult thing to ask. I was talking with a friend about this too, and also it's just funny on the communications, we talk about storytelling. I'm always picking this guy. Amex has an archivist, a historian, and he's just this brainiac about everything Amex has ever done, every marketing campaign, anything we've ever said when products were launched. So I can just get down this weird little huddle with this guy and talk about everything that historical that Amex has done. So from a storytelling standpoint, we can always build from that. But I think it's an exciting place where me and my team are in, where we can evolve, like to your point, such a legacy brand, but in a brand new way that businesses have never really perceived us as such, and that's an exciting place to be in.
Exactly. So from Amex to Samantha. So you're the youngest brand on the panel. And when we think about it, it's pretty simple what she's doing, right? I'm eating it and I have chocolate all over my hands and they're delicious, and I'm still trying to get it open in New York. That's beside the point. why don't you talk a little bit about the brand and kind of what it means and how do you tell your story? Because I just did it a second, and I know there's a lot more.
Well, thanks. So what's so interesting about Tiff's Treats is that we have so many different stories that make up the brand. So our founder story is a huge component of who we are. We were founded almost 25 years ago here in Austin by 2 students. They were actually sophomores at the time. They were baking from their college apartment and delivering to dorms. And that's how it started. And it's even crazier of a story because it was an apology gift. This was like the beginning days of cell phones, and our founders, who they're now married, our founder Tiff, stood Leon up on a date and couldn't call him in time, and so she brought warm cookies that she made over to him. They were still warm when they got delivered, and he was like, "This is a great business. Who, as a college kid, doesn't want to get warm cookies at night?" So like, let's make this happen. So they did it, and since then, like I mentioned, we have almost 100 stores now that we've grown to, but you know, what's so cool about the brand and why I'm so excited to be there is that we don't have to sell a cookie. Like, everybody really likes cookies, right? Like, so, and everybody, it's not, we don't need to sit there and just talk about how good our cookies are. They're good cookies. But what we get to be a part of in people's lives is really what's so special. So what we like to talk about, whether it's marketing, but just who we are as a brand, are the moments that we get to be a part of. So when somebody, you know, has their first baby, it's, you know, the parents in the room and somebody has sent them Tiff's Treats. If you are celebrating your first day on a job, you might get a Tiff's Treats delivery as a congratulations. Birthdays, we are, if anyone here is from Texas, you've definitely probably received Tiff's Treats or you've sent them to somebody as a gift. And really, like, it's all of these moments and all the moments in between. If you get broken up with your boyfriend or girlfriend, your best friend might send you Tiffs. So it's moments of comfort. It's really about how we can show up for our customer. And I think that's what's most important when we're talking about marketing or just any of the storytelling that we're doing as a brand, is what makes it relatable. And so we do have really delicious cookies and treats, but it's really more so about like how we deliver on, you know, the promise that we make to our customers by, you know, we're making your cookies fresh, we're delivering them on time, we're making them on demand for you, and really just being able to turn up when you're looking for us.
Well, thank you, because they're really good. Okay, so I'm from Philly, and this lovely woman to my left talked to me a little bit about Free People and what you're doing, because you're from a house of brands. And during our call, she said something that honestly I couldn't believe was a topic. Catalog sales? Yeah. So I would love to hear about the evolution of your brand and how you navigate within a house of brands.
Yes, so many of you in the room are probably familiar with Free People. You may or may not know it's owned by Urban Outfitters, and the family of Urban Outfitters brands consists of Free People, Anthropologie, as well as Nuuly, which is a relatively new clothing rental, similar to Rent the Runway. Urban Outfitters is one of the most old school retail brands. They've seen so much success over the last few decades, and I think part of my job has been driving innovation and marketing, and it's like, hey, you know, we've been able to identify what the customer's looking for over the last, 30 years, but what are they interested in today, and what especially, Gen Z and younger millennials are looking for. And I think for one of my goals is to be, through storytelling, is shifting the perception of our brand as well, and showing we're not just this free-spirited bohemian women's brand. We're a lot more than that. We, are trendy, and I think kind of trying to elevate the brand through a few different things. One of the newer things we've been trying out over the last year is live shopping. And that, I think, bringing that to the table and saying, I know this is something we've never done before. Let's test it out and see if our customer is interested. And, it's a new touch point and a way for them to find out, how certain items of clothing fit. And we've seen a lower return rate through doing that as well. And I think it's also, shown we don't need highly produced content to drive sales or interest. Like, they are, live streams that are more casual and off the cuff actually, are more successful than ones that, have a script and are highly produced. But going back to catalog, I jumped over that.
Oh, let's get to the live shopping for a second, though. I'm going to put a beat here. So, been on the panel today listening, and there's a lot of talk about that word authenticity and what it means. And I was blown away when you talked about the people that are doing the live shopping. Who is the host? Did you go out and find an influencer? Did you find a celebrity? Who are the people that are doing your live shopping?
I think it's been all about testing, and I try to find that balance of involving influencers and celebrities that our customer base cares about, but I was telling Susan, some of our top hosts are the Willis sisters, Bruce and Demi's daughters, and they are super down to earth, relatable, they're really funny, and their shows always drive a lot of sales and engagement, but a majority of our programming is just using internal employees as hosts.
Exactly.
People on the styling teams, people on the merch team. It doesn't even really matter what team they're on. If they, are excited about the brand and the product, we see so much success, and our customers are looking for that kind of backstage, behind the scenes look at the Free People offices.
Yeah, there's a lot of that even when we talk about Tiff's Treats, right? The story, what is it? And it's not gonna be me talking about this chocolate over myself, but it's gonna be about someone's moment. And I think that's cool, and how you're using data. So just really bringing all of that together. I do wanna push a bit, catalog sales.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy to me when I joined the company. We still plan our entire year calendar based off of catalog drops. And comping them year to year, they still drive significant enough sales for us that we look at that. And there's things we're doing, adding QR codes to the catalogs and things like that, but that's still such a major part of our business. So it's been, and also I look at catalog as a marketing channel, right? It's treated entirely separately at our company. There's a separate shoot for it and everything. So I think we've also been trying to say, hey, let's use this as a route for storytelling for our marketing campaigns and kind of align the messaging from our marketing campaign in the catalog.
Exactly. So I want to take a little bit of a shift and talk about innovation, because I personally told a lot of stories in my day, and I've made TV shows and done all this stuff, and I think telling a story, every brand in this room has to do it. What is it you're going to do to convince somebody else to buy, subscribe, or engage with your product? And so I'm going to mix up the order a little bit. So Samantha, so we obviously know your product is pretty clear, right? But how do the stories impact the product and market and sales? Like, what is that innovation doing for you?
We've done a lot to bring Tiff Treats to a younger audience. Like, we definitely have a very solid college base. We have locations on college campuses, but leaning into where people are hearing about things for the first time and where we can tell a broader story. So that means for us a lot of social media, and a lot of our stories come to us through our customers directly, that they're sending us messages, whether it's emails, but now it's primarily like DMs and comments on our posts about their first experiences with Tiffs or what they're so excited about when they've received Tiffs. And then as we continue to grow, we are leaning more into collaborations. So we've had a pretty long-standing collaboration, I'd say, for the past 3 years now with Kendra Scott here in Austin. They're making a custom piece for us several times a year, because we are so heavy with gifting. That's really our primary use case. So people come to us for all of these occasions, and now we have a wider range of products that we're able to offer and deliver as gifts. We recently partnered with Baked by Melissa out of New York, so we're able to offer some of their products through all of our store locations for this on-demand delivery, which is something that they themselves don't offer. And we've collabed on some actual cupcake and cookie-inspired cupcakes that we're selling, and Sprinkles cupcakes too. Again, just this really fun brand that based out of Los Angeles. Now they're here in Austin too, but we've done some great collaborations with all of these, and it's really just about how we're able to take that information from our customer, what are they already coming to us for, and how can we deliver even better on what it is that we've been doing for 25 years. I think that when we, one of the things that's so interesting when we talk about data is that we have thousands of gift messages that are sent through, with the deliveries every single day. So, we're able to kind of sift through those 4 trends to find out all of these occasions that people are sending cookies for. Some of them are not always so appropriate. They're very funny. But I mean, we get to really just see, again, all of these moments of these, just because, thank you, et cetera. And now, especially in today's economy where, everybody's hurting a little bit, right? And we offer a product that is, can say that you care, and we can do it for under $25, which is really nice. And again, just delivered and on demand. And when you're competing with things like, florists, and you can't send flowers nowadays for less than $80 to $100, but you can, send somebody cookies to say thank you or to say happy birthday. And what's also so great, I think, about what we've heard from our customers is that they'll come to us and say, oh my God, I almost forgot my best friend or my friend's birthday or my boss's birthday, but thankfully you can deliver it to them in an hour, and so nobody even knows that you forgot about it again. So I think it really is just about listening to your customer and hearing from them. That's really what we base all of our changes and our decisions on, is how we can better serve them.
I mean, that's amazing. And let's dig into this data piece, because the guy on the end I know has a lot of data stories. So when you think about the innovation of what you're doing, how are you, or how can you share with us how data has driven some of that innovation in your role?
For show of hands, who here owns a small business? Couple? How many of you started that business or side hustle this year, in the past 2-3 years? Or a new business in that time frame? Okay, right on. So in the past 3 years, the US saw an unprecedented number of small business starts. It's 10-some million businesses started in this company since the pandemic. And if you think about it in that context, these are digitally native businesses. Some of them are looking for new sort of products and services that they've never used before. And on top of that, in the past 2 years, you have tremendous headwinds, right? You have the businesses you've had, I'm sure in some capacity you felt some strain, right? Whether that's hiring somebody, that's been difficult for small businesses, inflation, operating costs, supply chain snarls, you name it, right? And we gather a lot of this information because we really approached our marketing with a very empathetic mindset. Even to the point where when we build landing pages, we know small business owners have 0 time. They wear 19 hats. And we reduced even the length of our landing pages by a quarter of what we see typically from competitors, just to get them through faster. And so we are always thinking in this mindset. And since all of this, you have unprecedented new small businesses, they're managing through so much, we are really focused on, okay, when it comes to that moment when you're making a financial decision, how confident are you in that? When you go and hire that person, when you go buy inventory, when you expand into a new location, when you buy your buddy cookies, hey, was that the right call? And, it's the data showing us about half the businesses say they are really financially confident when they make these decisions, but half aren't. And so what that shows us is, from American Express, especially what we're building, with this, this hub where they can come and manage their data, and they can come and see all of their transactions in one place and really understand in a snapshot, okay, I know how healthy my business is doing from a financial standpoint. We have the permission to show up in a way, in a really important time for them to go tell that story. And so data is really informing the way that we are going to market with our storytelling. Understanding where they are, having a really empathetic approach to that, and then showing it from Amex, 175 plus years of, really legacy brand, and showing it in that capacity. And so the data from that standpoint is driving a lot of our storytelling, and then obviously the way we build our product. I mean, every day we're talking to small businesses on a routine basis, and I think what's really great is we're comprised of a team that are, a lot of us kind of in your story, a lot of you, your colleagues, are showing up and putting on shirts and doing their thing on social. My dad was a business owner, my uncle was a business owner, I am a small business. So a lot of us have this sort of ethos within the corporation of how we build these products for companies, and that's how we approach our customer research, how we approach the product build, how we approach our PR. I mean, everything really ties back to small businesses, but at the end of the day, we have to have that data set to really understand where they are, and that's a big part of what my team does.
Got it. So let's turn to free people. So when I think about Libby, our conversation, I'm going to say Prime Video, and I'm going to say Daisy. And that's it. What I'd love you to do is talk about how, why, and what it's done.
Yeah, so I think early 2021, I got a cold email from someone on the Prime Video team, and they were like, hey, we are about to put this series into production. It's called Daisy Jones and the Six. It's based on a book. We think that Free People would be an amazing partner. And I immediately sat down and read the book like over the next 48 hours and went back to my team and I was like, we have to do this. I see so much alignment for our brand being, you know, the story takes place during the 70s. Just in the character, personality traits and things like that, it really felt like a home run hit. And we worked on that over a year and a half, developing the partnership and campaign. Free People has never done anything like this before. We've never had an entertainment partner. You know, and the goals were really that cultural relevancy and alignment for something that not only our current customers care about, but something we could reach new customers with. And then also being able to leverage Amazon and Prime Video's channels and reach. I mean, there's no better partner, you know, in the reach and the footprint they have. So that campaign turned into a full, you know, 360 where we were able to, you know, tack on to Prime Video events in multiple markets worldwide. We activated at South by Southwest earlier this year, having an immersive experience, and we were able to work closely with them to control the creative as well. You know, I knew that in order to sell this at Free People and for it to be a success to us, the creative really needed to, you know, be in our tone of voice. And so we, you know, did our own shoots for that, developed the creative. Thankfully, Prime Video loved it, but it turned out to be a huge, and we also had product integration in the series, which was another great touch point. But on the whole, it was Free People's most successful marketing campaign in the history of the brand, and it was Prime Video's most successful fashion style partnership ever, and it's nominated for a Clio Award, which is great.
Cool. Congrats. Do you measure that by sales? Or do you measure it by awareness? How are you measuring the most successful?
Both. Sales, you know, click-through rate on all of our campaign touch points.
Great job.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great clothing.
Thankfully, you know, it's a gamble because the show, you know, we weren't able to watch it until closer to, but.
So you had a really authentic brand that will relinquish, I'm not supposed to curse, a lot of control.
Yeah.
To be able to tell your brand story, and I think each of you do that. You have to relinquish a little control to have the story get out there. So I would love to know what you guys really think about how your customers hear you. Because we've talked a lot about things you do and what you've done to either talk about the brand or talk about the innovation, but I'm a customer. What is it that I'm seeing?
You want me to go? Sure.
Who
So I love this question. Thanks. So my team is awesome because I've always loved talking to the businesses directly. You find you get the most value out of it. You get the most impact, understanding like how the product's working. And so our product is unique, right? Like it's a pretty novel idea. Like, okay, small business owners, we want you to compile all your banking accounts, your business accounts, connect them to one platform that Amex has offered that's never offered before, and from it, run your company. Like it's not go buy a card, go get a checking account from this bank, go get accounting software from this company. We want to compile it all in one place. And then from there, give you insights to actually inform you to make more confident financial decisions. It's all very new. And when we talk to customers, they go, look, 3 years ago, if you asked me if Amex was a card company, I'd be like, yeah, duh, that's what they do. But today, like for me to say they're just a card company is like ridiculous. Like I cannot imagine running my company without you now, the way that this tool supports us. And I go into the app every day, 9 times a day. I literally run my business through this. And if it weren't for Amex, I would have to materially change the way I operate. And so like that kind of like these are the anecdotes we get constantly from customers as we're talking to them. So it's the impact of how they're running their company is where we're seeing that change, because it is such a new novel thing. Like, this is the next wave of how small businesses can manage their company. Like the technology tools that they have at their fingertips is from this kind of what we're building. There's only a couple others out there in the marketplace that do something similar. And so to hear that from businesses directly is really the feedback we're getting and how we're seeing the difference.
For our customers, I really think it's just about how, again, we are there to show up for them and deliver on what we're promising them. And ultimately, you're not even really thinking about us. You're experiencing that moment and we're enhancing it for you. So if it is a birthday, it's really about the one-to-one gifting that's taking place. And we just are lucky to be a part of that. And I think that when people think about birthdays, that there is an element of tips. When you see a delivery car, you see somebody delivering to an office, like, oh, somebody's celebrating something today, or I hope it's coming to me, But I think that that's ultimately where we stand. We're not here to craft a story. We're here to listen to our customers and let them talk about us as they want to, and just make sure that we're delivering a really great product and being able to continue to be a part of these really special moments in their lives.
Do you ever make different kinds of cookies? Because what they want, you have a ginger chocolate chip cookie. Hook me up with that.
Listen, Tiff is out there, she's creating, let me tell you, there's a lot of taste testing.
Okay.
So I'm gonna throw a curveball. Tiff is creating, she is doing pretty cool stuff. But what if I have a food allergy? I'd love to hear, I know the answer, but what is it, how can you share the financial and the opportunity in the same sentence?
That's a tough one for us right now. It's something that we want to do and get into. We don't currently offer a gluten-free or vegan cookies. We have some products on our menu, but they're not our hero products. We don't have those cookies yet. But I think that is the future opportunity, particularly as we are building into all of these new states and cities where, as we just opened in California for the first time, and that's something that we're certainly hearing. And we want to be able to provide those products for our customers so that everybody can participate in these moments and have a gift of a warm cookie, so hopefully we'll get there soon.
Oh, absolutely, but also, right, you have to have a new factory.
You've got 100%, yeah, this is where we do our manufacturing and all of our ingredients and what have you. Right now, we do manufacture in a place where there are nuts, and so we have to be very careful with that. But in order to fulfill on the promise that we would want to make to our customers with a new product that would be gluten-free or vegan, that we would have to, invest really heavily in that.
All right, what do you think?
So when you started off saying relinquishing control, I think a big way in how we're currently showing up to our customer is working with influencers and influencer content on social media. And a lot of that has been giving up control to say, okay, it's not a highly produced asset or a campaign, that costs $500K to shoot. It's giving our influencer partners the runway and flexibility to create content, about our brand that is, really true to them and authentic. And that, that means we have a pretty loose brief, on what we need them to do. And then also, just kind of trusting them. And I think, it's been it can be a scary thing for a lot of companies. But we've seen, there's one influencer we started a relationship with named Rebby Bader, and we started working with her because she made these videos where she did some funny spoofs on fashion retailer campaigns. And she made a video on TikTok making fun of free people, and we reached out to her, and she, was a little freaked out at first. She's like, "Oh no, I upset them," and we're like, "No, we thought that was so funny. We want to work with you." And so I think not taking, we try to come off as a brand that doesn't take ourselves too seriously, and I think consumers want to see, that kind of real influencer perspective.
Is the influencer channel one of the most successful for you guys?
It has been growing significantly, and I think, initially, historically, we've considered it a brand awareness channel, and my goal has been to prove that it can really be a ROI driving sales channel.
If you're willing to share, what percentage of your budget is influencers?
We have been growing it every year. Percentage-wise, I'm not sure of the exact, but it's significant.
It's a good portion.
Yeah, and I think, it's been showing statistics earlier this year we did an influencer trip for the launch of our own swim brand to Mexico. We took a bunch of TikTokers, all in their young 20s. And again, just gave them they would spend 8 hours a day making TikToks. It didn't have to be a firm itinerary of things. And during that week, of the trip, we saw several styles in the swim line sell out. We saw Google search traffic spike for Free People Swim. And those were, data points we could take back to our, the co-founders of Urban and our CEO and say, this is really, driving significant results.
Are you gonna go to the second fire festival? You all gonna be there? Who bought tickets?
Right.
Who bought tickets? Nobody bought tickets.
Oh, we have a winner.
Got it.
Really? So, has the success and things that you're uncovering transferred over to Urban and to the parent company?
Yes, it has. And I think that has been really exciting to see. I think at first, everyone was a little nervous about it, and now they've really embraced it. Like recently, you may know who Bobby Altoff is, but we've really had the flexibility to, with influencers and social media, when something's trending, you have to jump on it.
No.
And if you have to wait to get several, layers of approval before moving, you're gonna be too late. And so it's been great to have that trust, from our executive team to just move on something. And, we had Bobby create a post for us, right away when she popped up into the TikTok realm. And, that went really great. But it was crazy to hear our, one of our Urban co-founders say to me in a meeting, like, oh, I love Bobby, she's so funny. And
You're like, I didn't know you knew the name. Yeah. All right, so we have 5 minutes left. I think a thing that I always enjoy listening is a lesson. So I would love each of you to 2 minutes, give a quick lesson or something you want to teach people that you've experienced, and how can we help somebody else? I think that's really important. And then if we have time, we'll try a Q&A.
Going down here, you go first. Go for
Whoever
it.
wants.
Yeah, I'll go for it. I think a lesson that we continue to learn every day is just how we can better listen to our customer and try new things. Where we have, even though we might be the youngest brand, we've really loved it to death. We're homegrown. We've got a core team of people who have been there for a long time, since day one, in fact. And how can we expand and try new things, because our customer is, ages with us, and we need to continue to turn up for people who are younger that aren't just, hearing about us from their parents or older siblings and stuff. And we want to be relevant to that. And I think what's really cool too is we look at a lot of studies that have been done recently about younger consumers, and they're actually more into gifting than some of our older counterparts, and we want to be that gift for them. And again, keeping our price point in a good place, letting go of their brains so that people can tell and share their stories and experiences. And again, we're more gifting than anything, but we see a ton of taste test videos come up online, and we gotta take feedback from that, and some of them are funny and some of them are, most of them are great, but when they're not, we wanna hear about that. So I think, our lesson that we're learning every day is just how we can let go a little bit, try new things. You can't mess up that much. You're posting on TikTok, and we're posting every day. We're gonna have a lot of stinkers out there, but you gotta just keep rolling with it to see what works, because you said, things change so quickly on the platforms. You want to be quick to take part. So that's the lesson that we're learning.
For me, it's because we're launching all these brand new things that our customers have never used before. I think the quote unquote permission to do so is something to kind of bear in mind. So there's that, and then the relevance. I said talked about both. So the permission side, I think of Amazon's a great example of this. Jeff Bezos. Had he, launched this ability to go buy books online, and then the next big move was to buy a national grocery store, and I'm that's weird, right? But it was the progression of the years to get there that the customers were like, oh, yeah, makes sense. I would love to buy wine from Amazon. Let's do that. And I think that progression is important, to kind of be contextually aware of where your customers are with you. I think that's an important thing. And then too, on the storytelling side, I think relevancy should be always top of mind. From our side, small businesses need money to run. That's a tale as old as time, right? But it's why now and why us is what my team is so hyper focused on, right? I was telling where we are in the marketplace, what small businesses are facing now, understanding that really deeply, crafting a story that helps the business but also shows up in a way that makes sense for our customers. The relevancy is always super important, so I would say keep that in mind. And apparently have influencers go to the fire festival is the other thing I'm learning over here. So.
I would say two different things, and they're gonna sound like things you've heard before, but number one is listening to your customers, especially when it comes to relevancy. Our customer analytics team runs polls and surveys all the time with our customers. Just ask questions like, who's the musician you're most excited about? Taylor Swift. What shows are you watching? What podcasts do you listen to? We take that into account when we run podcast advertising on Spotify. It's always best to hear it from the customer, versus the audience demographic information, vendors are giving you. I would also say, I think all of us find ourselves sometimes falling into the trap of pursuing, routes, whether it's talent you're working with or partnerships based on your personal interests. Our team does that all the time. We'll be like, oh, we're all excited about the White Lotus. Let's cast someone from the White Lotus. But I think you really have to ask, does our customer actually care about this?
Can't wait for season 3.
Yeah.
You alright?
Yeah, and I would say too, trusting, the younger team members you have. That's a big thing I've had to do, especially, I'm not on top of all the TikTok trends. But if someone comes in and says, we need to work with Tube Girl, I don't even really have to ask who Tube Girl is. It's kind of like, okay, we have to move.
Yeah, before I came up here, there's someone in our office in New York, and she gave me the skin on a lot of things. And I'm like, Sarah, what do you think?
Yeah, so I think it's, hiring those younger team members who you can really look to and say, hey, tell us what to do, because we don't know. You tell us what's relevant with Gen Z.
Oh my gosh, I could talk all day. So does anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Hi, I'm a customer of all 3 of your brands, which is great. And I'm wondering a little bit about partnerships more from a perspective of like retention and loyalty and how that fits into your story. I feel like we're entering an era where consumers are looking for a lot of perks and you're catering to us in more ways. So obviously Amex is like a powerhouse of, I have all these different benefits and what you were saying about Kindred Scott and different partnerships you have for people. So just curious how you think about bringing in other brands to co-tell your story and how you bring customers with you on that journey.
Yeah, I think what's really neat, again, it keep kind of saying the same thing, but it goes back to like, what does the customer want from you and how can you better provide a service to them? And for us, knowing that there's so much of our business is gifting, like how do we go beyond cookies to be able to show up and deliver a gift to anybody anytime, and that it might be different than just cookies. And so we look to partners and partnerships that have a similar demographic audience base that, we've already seen so many ties between certain brands that we work with and are planning to work with in the future. So for us, it's just a matter of, really wanting to provide something to the customer. Often they tell us too, right? Like, oh, it would have been really cool if you had this product, or why don't you do something with them? And we go ahead and listen to that, and we do those pieces of outreach. And some of our partnerships are even a little bit different, not from a product perspective, but we've got a great partnership with like the Dallas Cowboys, for example, one that you might not think of with cookies, but so much of it ties back to what our our people want from us and where we turn up for them and wanting to participate in the community through these different activations and partnerships and stuff. So hopefully it's just going to be a continuation of us learning from our customers and being able to expand what our products are and how we can best deliver them.
Yeah, I would agree. It's, listening to the customer, and a lot of those surveys we run, we ask, what are the brands you're excited about? I think another aspect too is I look at it, from a storytelling perspective of elevating our brand through who are like some higher end designers who, kind of fit well with our brand aesthetic that we could work with, to kind of reach that different audience who might not, have us in their consideration set. So that's something I'm thinking about as we look to next year.
Yeah, for American Express, obviously we have a host of brands, right, and partnerships. I mean, we just announced F1, we're not the official card for them, and others, right? There's lots of that out there. For my side of the house, Business Blueprint, since we're so new, I mean, even us connecting our name to American Express, when we rebranded after the acquisition, we saw a significant multiplier of just interest in that alone. Like, I mean, the power of the brand is so powerful. I would say that, for us, it's like kind of so new that like on our side, on the small business side, we haven't really developed so much. But I mean, one thing I would say is, also consider where you might have your own, like an owned channel or an owned thing that you can put out. Like what comes to mind for me, I know it's very large, but Small Business Saturday, I don't know if people know this, but American Express started that about 15 years ago. It was a marketing campaign. Maybe there's a version of like that, right? That's very pertinent to your customers, that shows the backing and the support that you can from your own brand. I think is a unique thing to think about.
This has been amazing. Thank you guys. Thank you for the chat.
Thank you.